Today I am here with the CEO of a Texas-based spirits brand, Justin Meigs. How are you doing, my man?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming, man. Where did you come in from?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas?
Yes.
How was it living out there?
Very, very good. Love it. Been there 16 years now.
That's crazy, man. I took 3 separate trips out there, and each time I finish up, I say I'm never going back. And you are living out there. You must be a soldier.
Most people do say that when they leave, yep.
So my man is CEO of Waterloo. As you know, we had a chance to work with Waterloo earlier this year in Austin, where we had a craft cocktail competition. The bar managers, bartenders out there, they had a chance to get creative with it. We're doing the same thing out here in Houston. And so with that in mind, I wanted to get some background on the people who are running this. Because, you know, my name is Bartender, the CEO. As a man who loves the hospitality side of things, the guest experience, I'm also super fascinated with the business side of this industry from every angle, from the venue operators to the marketers, the media, as well as the people who create the juice that we sell to our customers. So real quick, give us a little background on yourself and how did you even get to being the CEO of a brand?
Yeah. So a little bit of in-depth history. I went to San Diego State for school. And I started in the bar scene when I turned 21 as a barback in the gas lamp area downtown San Diego.
Okay, barback.
Yeah. Tough gig, but learned a lot about the bar, behind the bar. You know, all the things that are needed to run a fast, efficient bar program. Worked my way up through there to be a bartender, and you know, ultimately worked my way around the San Diego gas lamp area, and became. Worked into management and started running some of the venues, and so kind of learned really all the aspects of F&B and nightlife, which was amazing, and loved it. And I thought for a minute that might be the career that I would go into, and I would stay in that business because I did really enjoy it. But a few years in, shortly after I graduated school, was approached by the team from Sazerac. Sazerac is one of the biggest and best bourbon producers in the world, and you know, they were coming out with this little brand called Fireball Whiskey. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there was an opportunity for me to move out to Las Vegas and launch that brand for them and the state of Nevada, and it seemed like a really exciting opportunity. I loved the Fireball brand. I loved the bourbons that Sazerac had. It just felt like a great next step for me in my career. So I took that jump and moved myself out to Las Vegas, and I've been there about 16 years now.
So when you were in school, what were you getting your degree in?
I have a degree in economics.
Economics?
Yeah.
Were you able to use that degree at all in what you were doing, I guess, within your profession at that time or even now?
Well, now I am, just because I kind of understand the way markets work. I mean, really the way you build a brand is by creating demand and driving traffic into the stores. And so it's very much economics are involved in that aspect of it yet.
And I know before Waterloo, I know you did Sazerac, and you also were part of the Empress Gin launch team. Yeah. What was your role in that whole process? Yeah,
so was with Sazerac for 5 or 6 years, jumped over to Patrón for a brief stint, and ran San Diego and Palm Springs for them. Shortly after I joined Patrón, I was reached out to by a gentleman from Las Vegas who was starting a gin company, and sent me samples of the first batch of Empress Gin, and I thought it was an incredible product. I had an opportunity to go up in my career a little bit, to be a multi-state person and really learn the startup aspect of the spirits business. So moved back to Las Vegas, launched Las Vegas, California, Hawaii, a couple other markets pretty quickly with that brand, and ultimately over a 5 or 6 year period, I ended up running the Western region, 26 states for Empress Gin, and managed every aspect of the business from logistics down or all the way to, you know, national accounts, chain business, all of those things.
And you seem like a businessman. You seem like a guy who's locked in. What role does Las Vegas play in being an advantageous spot to launch spirit brands?
I mean, it's a great question. The biggest piece is, as you know, Las Vegas is like a billboard for the whole world. We get tens of millions of visitors every single year, and if these brands are visible on the strip and the high image, amazing accounts that we do have in the city, it's a great brand building moment for a lot of folks. You know, they see you there, they go back home and they say, wow, I remember this brand from Las Vegas. That was a great brand. Where can I find it locally? So it's not a huge volume driving market, It can be, but largely it's more of a high image kind of marketing market, in my opinion.
So what made Waterloo Gin the right opportunity for you?
We ended up selling the Waterloo Gin brand back in the summer of 2022 to a great group, and actually an Austin, Texas-based group. And shortly after that, I went to work for John Paul DeJoria's family office in Austin as well. Was leading some of the spirits pursuits over there at the office, and through another project exploration, we came across Treaty Oak Distillery, and ultimately found Waterloo and fell in love with Waterloo. We me coming from a just fresh off an exit of a gin brand, I was very close to the gin category, and kind of knew, I don't know, something told me that just Waterloo Gin was a special liquid, and wanted to explore it. So ultimately went back to the team at the office and said, hey, I really think we need to go make a play at this gin. It's a fantastic product, and it's very successful and has a cult following in Texas, but I think it deserves to be much bigger than just Texas. And so that's what we're trying to do with the brand now.
I like that, and I noticed it kind of ties back to what you said earlier when you had a chance to try out Empress Gin. I imagine Fireball too. How important is it when you take that first sip to then convince yourself, like, okay, this is the brand I'm going to be pushing for the next few years?
Yeah, I mean, I tried Waterloo, and I just happened to be a gin guy down in a bourbon distillery, and I was like, well, I'll do a gin and tonic or a bee's knees or something like that, one of these gin classic gin cocktails, and noticed after a few days of due diligence on that other project that I was like, man, I really like this gin.
Yeah.
So then the wheels started turning in my head about what could this be, and that's kind of where it all started.
And John Paul DeJoria, he is pretty significant in his industry. What's his background, and how does he fit into all of this?
Yeah, so John Paul is the co-founder of Patrón Tequila, and started that brand early on, and had it for, I'm not sure the exact year, but a number 25, 30 years before they exited to Bacardi, right around the same time, 2022 or so, they exited on that brand, 23 maybe. So he's very, very well sought after in the spirits industry. He's a entrepreneur, and just a fantastic human, and just a great person to work for.
And I know your role as CEO of Waterloo Gin. What does that even mean? What are the roles? How does that play into the success of a brand?
Yeah, well, so right now, because of the size of our company, that role can be a number of things, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you really are doing, I have calls with almost everybody on my team almost every day, or are involved, in sales meetings, or, logistics meetings, or, just production meetings, you name it. I like to be involved in it when I can. And so still, very much in forecasting and funding and talking with investors and all of those things, but at the same time really like to still be out in the field and know what's going on in the field at the ground level, know what the customers are saying about our brand, and know what the retailers are saying about our brand, what's working, what's not, and taking those things back and kind of evaluating them and thinking how we can get better every day.
And you've been in the industry for quite a while, since you already said you were out there when Fireball was created. What has been the drinking trend changes over the years up until now?
Oh gosh, I mean, I guess it depends on who you ask. The changes that I see right now are people are starting to drink a little bit less, but they're starting to really understand brands quite a bit more. So while they're drinking less, they're actually being more thoughtful in what they drink. And so, whether that's a craft cocktail or a very complex cocktail, or being very simple and they just love a spirit, where it's made and the ingredients that are in that, and who's behind the brand, those things all matter now. And so that's probably the biggest trend. Obviously, the RTD ready to drink business has exploded in the last several years, and I think that comes down to just convenience and finding the right time or experience to enjoy some of these products. RTDs go pretty well a lot of times, whether you're daytime, nighttime, outdoor, indoor, they're pretty versatile. So I think that's why you're seeing that kind of space grow up pretty quickly. But yeah, this.
RTD stands for ready to drink, by the way. And that's just, bam, you go to the store, you can pop it, open it right away.
Yeah.
And one thing I've really noticed a lot too is how social media has really impacted drinking culture in the sense that now people want something they can take a picture of, and I think that has led to the craft cocktail movement, which led to bars now like, okay, I need to create a list of drinks that also have this certain type of show to it, which then affects, the type of spirits that they want to bring in to match that process. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think they're calling that an Instagrammable moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe in that philosophy 100%. Instagram, people buy with their eyes, and then first, it's immediately why right when we took this brand over, we said we need to do a package refresh. We loved the liquid, but we thought the liquid was so much better than the previous package. And so we right away did a 6-month brand refresh, redid every aspect of the bottle, and really tried to elevate it to make the package emulate the liquid inside the bottle. That's how we felt like we could be most competitive. So I think that goes hand in hand with cocktail culture as well. When you can produce a beautiful cocktail, I call it the fajita effect. We have several accounts around the country that the cocktails that are on the menu, they do have that fajita effect. And when you see that plate of fajitas going across the room and it's sizzling, you're like, I think I'm gonna have the fajita.
Close your menu, like, yep,
exactly.
Done deal.
Yeah, that's right. So we try to do that with cocktails as well. We really, if there's some sort of experience that somebody gets, or some sort of just feeling that you can give to a customer about getting a cocktail, receiving a cocktail at your table, whatever that experience is, we want to try to build that ultimately, like, that memory of that experience for those people, and associate that with our brand and say, wow, that was such a great experience, and I was drinking Waterloo Gin at that moment.
And I know you're in startup phase right now. Of course, you want to dominate the market. You want to be in every type of bar. But as we all know, there are different types of genres of bars. Which genre of bars have you guys been the most successful with or found the best match at?
It's really different every city. I can say that the bars where we're having the most success are the bars where we have really phenomenal cocktails. They tend to be more high image, high volume, high velocity accounts. We have one in Las Vegas that actually both of our 2 top selling cocktails in the country, one in Las Vegas and one in Bellevue, Washington, are with the Prickly Pear and Rose. Both cocktails are beautiful, taste incredible, and they're just those cocktails that when people see them on other tables, they want to buy them. And so I think, like the high image, very cocktail forward, great culinary, but also a great cocktail program. Those are probably our top accounts where we're seeing the most kind of traction and where we're doing the best.
I know you guys are different from most gins because you guys are an American style gin, is what you said, versus a London style gin. What is the difference between those two? So
London Dry would it kind of those style gins kind of really get behind the juniper. You taste one of those gins and it's like, here's the juniper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Grandpa's gin.
Yeah. Whereas American style, juniper still has a strong presence in the gin, but we like to let other botanicals lead as well. They shine through. So like, for instance, in our gins, the number 9, which just got a platinum award in the most recent SIP Awards, which is an
congratulations.
Award. Thank you very much. Very few gins got that award. We have lavender, grapefruit, pecan, as well as juniper in there, and some standard, typical gin botanicals as well, like coriander, licorice root, things like that. But really, the if you drink this gin and you taste it neat, the lavender and the citrus really come out equally as much as the juniper, but it's just really well balanced. It's a beautiful cocktail gin that just drinks very smooth. Another interesting one that we have in all 3 of them is we use the Texas pecan, or pecan, depending on how you like to say it. And that doesn't impart flavor on the gins, but what it does do is it gives it a really incredible mouthfeel. And so when you drink these gins, they just add a really nice complexity to the gin that you don't get from most other spirits.
All right, and I know Prickly Pear was something that was a new release.
Yeah.
Compared to this Waterloo number 9, this is what you kind of went in and got. Yeah. So how do you go about making a decision like, okay, we're going to come up with this new product, and how do you go about marketing, pushing it, and getting people to bring it in?
Yeah, well, so we knew There was three when we acquired this brand. There was three SKUs. One of the SKUs was just kind of something that was, it was in a few accounts around town and had a decent demand for it, things like that. But we just really didn't feel like with the way that the gin category is going, that it was really the right fit for the portfolio of gins. So discontinued that one right away and decided working on some R&D and coming up with a prickly pear. We didn't know at the time that prickly pear is actually one of the most popular flavors in all of beverage right now. We actually didn't know that.
It's a Texas state fruit, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's very, very prominent here in Texas, and so we just were like, we had tried some other things with prickly pear. We're like, that sounds fun. We want to work with that. We started doing R&D with a group and just kind of fell in love with that direction. Didn't really know much else except we knew we wanted to try to find a way to make prickly pear work. So did experienced a few different variations and ultimately landed on this one, and it's just been phenomenal. It's actually our highest velocity SKU of the three right now, in a short amount of time, been out less than a year, and it's already kind of trending in the right, really strong direction. So
which of these do you say is kind of like the brand introduction? Which one is the top of the funnel that gets people to try the other two?
So I would lead with the prickly pear rose. Obviously, I was just out here in the bar, and the girls behind the bar were like, "Oh, I have to try the pink one," and so I would lead with that one just because it is so inviting. It's a beautiful package, and the spirit looks great, and you're like, that likely tastes pretty dang good. I think I'm gonna try it. So especially for somebody that's not interested really in gin, I would say try the prickly pear and let me know what you think. Typically, people say, "Oh my gosh, that's gin." And that invites them in, and then we turn them over to the number 9, which they also find very, very approachable.
How much influence does bartenders have on what the consumers are drinking nowadays?
Tremendous amount of influence. And the reason I say that is, how often have you walked into a bar before and you're on vacation or on a work trip or whatever it might be, and you go and you say, what do you recommend? It's very similar to food. What do you make best, right?
Looks good here.
And the bartender is one of the few people that still has a strong influence over people. When they literally just met this person for 30 seconds, and that person can kind of tell them, "Hey, I'd like you to try this cocktail," and it could be a spirit that they don't normally drink, they've never heard of, but they'll push that on the customer, or not push it, but gently say, "I'd recommend this," and someone will drink it and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to find that when I get home. I'm going to go to my local store and I'm going to try to recreate that drink at home." And that's pretty powerful.
And I know you, as a former bartender, worked your way through the ranks. What are some of the skill sets from when you were a bartender really helped you become a great ambassador within the spirits industry?
Customer service, learning about guest experience, learning about how to listen, how to understand what people want, and how to make that experience one of the better experiences they had that day or that month. Just really focus on the customers and delivering a really amazing product, whatever that might be.
And what were some of the challenges going from bartender to kind of like this remote freelance worker? Because I know some bartenders, they have a hard time being stuck on the schedules or answering emails or being prompt. What were some of your challenges in that crossover?
Yeah, I mean, probably more just the jump from to the business side, as far as a lot of meetings, early meetings, right? Your schedule changes dramatically. For instance, I work out of my home office in Las Vegas, but most of my team is in Texas or on the East Coast, and so I'm starting meetings at 6-7 in the morning a lot of days. But it's just it's great. I love that. But it's more about just being available at times you're not used to. I definitely am not up. I'm not a night owl anymore.
Can't be. You just can't.
You find yourself in bed pretty early these days. And then just the business, from the day-to-day business, you're in the retail side of things now too. So, a lot of the buyers are early morning people. They do their orders and things early in the day, early in the week. Monday, Tuesday are important days for a lot of buyers, coming fresh off the weekend. A lot of nightlife and bar people take off Mondays and Tuesdays, right? That's their weekend. So just transition with scheduling meetings, just being prompt, being on time to those things, and kind of staying very buttoned up as far as doing what you say you're going to do and those types of things.
I know earlier you mentioned that Sazerac, they pretty much came and scouted you and found you. And so for other bartenders who are in these positions where they might want to do something different besides being a manager or an owner, how do they go about becoming recruitable?
Yeah, I mean, I think just when suppliers do come into your venues, start building a relationship just like they're a customer, learn about their spirits, ask all the questions, where they're from, how they make their product, really, trying to find out really who the people are behind these brands and what they do and what makes them go. And eventually you build a relationship where that you don't really do it on purpose, but you start to really care about these brands, and you notice yourself really pushing these things behind the bar, and not for any reason other than that you feel close to the brand. So I just encourage people to learn, ask the right questions, serve those drinks, educate customers like you're part of the team, and I think those opportunities will start to come if you really show a strong interest in those brands.
And just to add a second note, if you're see these ambassadors reps come to your bar, one of the great things about them is they could be some of your best forms of word of mouth, because they're also going to visit other places. They also have a lot of customer touch points, and if they enjoy the food and the drinks at your spot, trust me, they're going to tell other people about it. Kind of finishing up, man, a lot of people are getting into these leadership positions in our industry. What are some tips you can give people when it comes to establishing a great culture as you grow a team?
The biggest piece for culture is really letting your team feel like they're a part of the company. I can say confidently that everybody on my team really feels a closeness to our brand. Like we're truly, I know it's a lot of people say this, the one team, one dream kind of concept. We truly are. I mean, all of us are very much involved. We're a small team right now, but we're very much involved with each other's work. We have a group chat that almost is too busy at times with people's wins. I mean, it's so fun to share our wins from around the country and just everybody be excited for each other and to compete. I think that's another thing from the last question probably that helps make a good ambassador or person, salesperson in the spirits business, is just having that competitive side to where you want to win every day. Whether you go into an account and you met a new contact and you got a new person that you can speak to and be a potential customer, or you got a sale that day, whatever it is, maybe you made a new relationship at your distributor. One of those things those things are all really important, really valuable, and we share those wins on our team, and we all get excited for each other and really motivate each other. So probably that's the best team building thing I think you can do.
So finish up, man. What are some of the projects you guys are working on that you were super excited about?
Right now we're in full on expansion mode. So we're in 25 states as of today. We plan to be distributed across the country by next year, hopefully by middle of next year. And so, project wise, we've just kicked off this prickly pear. We're really just trying to gain distribution across the country with all three of ours, but really in our markets we're already established, get the prickly pear going. We have a really awesome campaign coming up in October when we partnered with the Susan G. Komen Foundation for Breast Cancer Awareness. Mm-hmm. So a portion of proceeds from every bottle of prickly pear sold in the month of October goes back to the Susan G. Komen Foundation. And so we're really, really excited about that. That we have, several thousand accounts across the country already signed up to push cocktails or put us out with case stacks on the floor for retail. So that's a really great project that's on the horizon and pretty close here to kicking off.
That makes sense. The product is pink. Yeah. My man, well, thank you so much for the time.
All right, John.
Great product. And watch the craft class videos and see how our competitors have gotten creative with it if you're trying to figure out how you can be creative with it as well as your own bar.